Hello all, welcome to the AWS workshop. Today we are going to see about how to connect to the AWS system via the command interface or in short AWS CLI. So to do this, first we need to have a user who has access to AWS CLI. So how do I create a user? The creation of user is a normal process. You just get into the AWS console. Like I'm going to take you to my AWS console. So which is here we go. So this is the AWS console that I have, and right now into the IAM dashboard. And you can see we have like two different users, and this is the user that I have selected. So this is my user basically. So in this user, if you see, I have my user ID being created with requested permissions and everything. There is something that you'll have to create additional if you wanted to get access with respect to CLI as well. So you'll have to get into security credentials and then also say that there is something called as access keys. So in this access key, you'll have to say create an access key. By default, I've already created an access key, so that's the reason you are able to see my key. But normally you'll not be seeing this, and rather you'll have to create an access key and then say that you wanted access to CLI interface. Likewise, you can also do all these other things. But for now, we are going to discuss or concentrate only on command line interface. I'm going to select command line interface and then say I understand all these things and then say next and then say create the access key. After providing a tag value, since I've already created, I'm not going to recreate it again. So this is the access key that I've created. Now this access key will also have a secret code associated along with it. So basically, a user with his or her existing privileges and permissions can create an access key, and the access key will have its own secret key associated to it. And these two can be emailed to us in case we wanted to reference it later. And remember, once you get the access key and secret key, you can see the access key again and again and again, but you can never see the secret key again. So it is always better to keep your secret key safe and secure somewhere else, and I've kept it somewhere else. So once this has been done, the next thing that you'll have to do is install AWS CLI on your workstation. It could be your laptop, desktop, or whatever the system that you're working on. So for that, you'll have to search into Google and then Google or Bing and then search for AWS CLI. You'll land upon this particular page. So I'm just going to research it. Uh, Oops, I just selected maps. I don't need maps. So when you say dismiss this guy. So when you say AWS CLI Windows installations, since I'm using Windows operating system. So when you select this particular link, it will take you to the AWS documentation to say how to do the installation of AWS CLI. You can choose your own operating system in case it is a Windows operating system. Just copy and paste this in your command line, it will get installed, or you can just download this and then install your MSI Microsoft installer file and then get it installed. So it's up to you. And likewise for Linux, you have its own RPM version, or you also have a DPKG versions, so or the Debian versions, etc. Likewise, you have it for Mac OS also. So since I've already installed all these things, and make sure that you have also set all these commands into the path, the system environment path, depending on the operating system that you are using. So for Windows, you'll have to edit into system properties and then provide the installation folder, which happens to be the program files followed with Amazon followed with the AWS CLI. And likewise for Linux, you'll have to create a link file to the folder onto the user bin folder. Likewise for Mac as well. So once all these things are done, you can just get into your command prompt. So in my case, this is my command prompt. So I'm using bash for the command prompt. So git bash as my command prompt, and you can see this is my folder. So I have set all my system properties and everything. So when I say AWS, I can basically get the issues. I mean get the details about the command in case if you're not getting this and then rather getting something called as command not found or script not found or something like that, then your path has not been properly set to the AWS installed folder. So once that has been set, you'll be in a position to see this. The command to configure or the command to connect to AWS is AWS configure. So once you say AWS configure and then press enter, remember we had two different keys. One is the access key and the other is the secret key. So the moment you press AWS configure, it will be asking for your AWS access key. So I've already keyed in my access key. So once you key in your access key, when you re-log in, it will retry to utilize the existing login and then show that for you, just in case if you wanted to use the same ID. And if you wanted to override it with a different ID, obviously you can type the new ID. In this case, this is my old ID as well. So I'm going to leave it blank and then give an enter. And this is my secret key as well. I'm not going to expose my secret key to you guys. Sorry, folks. So this is going to be my secret key, and followed with the third thing is the region of to which I should be defaultly connecting to. I've selected it as US East 1. I can again modify it here or to just leave it as it is. And the output format as JSON, you can give it even text here rather than JSON, like I was just giving you for for an update. But once you set these things, what will happen is internally the AWS under your home folder, which happens to be in Windows, it happens to be your C users followed with the username. There will be a folder called as .aws. Likewise for Linux, the folder is under your home folder. There will be a hidden folder called as .aws. So once you get into that folder, I'm just going to take you to that folder. So this is my user ID, and if I'm going to get into .aws, so you can see that. Okay, hold on. So you can see this is my home folder now. So under my home folder, if I list the files, I can see there are four different entries in it, of which two are folders and two are files. The credentials will have all the different credentials to different AWS accounts. For an example, if I'm having multiple pods or multiple accounts for that matter, then I can store all my different users details, or even if I have different credentials for different users, I can still put it in my credentials file as profiles. And config is going to be the file which is going to say what is the current config that I'm using. So these are the two files that it will be there. I'm not going to show you the content here. You can see the content for yourself because it will also have some of the secret information there. And the amplify and workbench, we'll discuss that about a bit later. We're not going to do that now. So these are the basics once you have to configure and then get it connected to AWS system via the console. Thanks for watching. We'll see about it in details in the next videos. Thank you. Bye bye.